And we're working. Work. All right, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. This is my Fukien tea tree. And sometimes I even just call it the effing tea tree because I really kind of hate it a little bit. I got it right when I got in the hobby. Just got this one from, actually got this one from Big Box Store. I got a small leafed one from the Bonsai nursery. It did not survive the repot when I repotted them both. Since then I've seen that they don't really like a lot of work, root work done. And this one, basically when I did repot it, I kind of just slip potted it. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do today. I mean, some people consider a slip pot to be just put it in a bigger pot. So I guess I would call it a gentle repot, because what I would do is kind of take it out and just tease it out a little bit and get it into something bigger, maybe even a little bit better soil. The reason why I say I don't like it is it really is just a pest magnet. It is one of the only trees that I actually use a systemic pesticide. I mean, it's practically a ground cover here. I've got so much on there. This thing is constantly getting scale. I actually pulled some scale off just now before I brought it in. Almost always covered in ants, which the ants aren't really a pest in themselves to the tree, but they're always farming something else, the scale, the aphids, something. And there's just seems to be something always on it. But I do, I do keep it alive. Does get some nice little white flowers on there. They're on there now. On there for me almost every day. It does look a little rough right in the middle of the winter, but like right now it looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of partially defoliate it some, just so that the transpiration isn't so much when I get it in its new pot. In the other video I did with it, I almost did a complete defoliation. It came back from that just fine. And of all the trees I lost in the hurricane and everything, this would have been about the only one that I really wouldn't have minded. But it made it. Alright, curious to see what it's going to look like when I get in here. Quite honestly, the other two pots that I have for it, sometimes when I go size up on bulb pans, it seems you're almost getting over potting it a little bit. But I'm also thinking that perhaps maybe I don't have a medium-sized one, I just don't have one in between right now. So depending on what I see, I may even just repot it right back in here. Still has a little skinny trunk, but I was thinking that perhaps, people say they get a bunch of growth and a bunch of crazy shoots. And even though it looks healthy and gets flowers all the time, maybe it's not growing because it doesn't have room to grow. So again, let's just get in here and see what we've got first before I really make my mind up. I kind of stopped doing this with the window screen. And I have noticed that this thing actually is draining really slowly, which is the #1 reason why I'm deciding to do this. In that, these training pots that I use, the training pots that I use have really big holes in them, and you don't really want to lose a bunch of substrate out of there. But I am starting to realize, in a bonsai pot, you have that really big drainage hole in the bottom, and you got to put the screen on it to keep that from happening. And I am just starting to realize that if you just kind of put the substrate in there, you'll lose a few rocks, a few pieces out of the bottom, but it really won't be anything all that much. and then by the time the roots kind of come out and colonize the pot, it keeps from losing too much more. So I'm going to stop putting that window screen in there. Here's some other reasons why it may not have been growing all that well. I did repot this when I was. Actually, I had bought some big bags of lava rocks. I was trying to break some of them up by hand. It wasn't working out that well, so I was throwing them in the bottom of a lot of my pots. When I repotted it, like I said that first time, I did not have my YouTube channel yet, but I'm gonna bet it was probably pretty much almost this. There was some roots mixed in there with the lava rocks, but not very many. Top here is just still solid peat, like it was at Walmart or wherever it was I got it from. So I'm not really seeing the need to go up too much bigger, and I'm gonna put it right back in there with some better substrate. Hopefully it fares better in the better substrate. Try to get some of this taken off from around the edges a little bit. Yeah. And just then started hitting some bigger roots. And I am really just kind of going off of a lot of stuff I've heard, and that they do not like having their roots messed with. So I'm gonna get it in here. Off camera, I did mix in some systemic into this. Cup of soil here. Alright, and I'll do like I've been doing. Just try to hang on to this guy for a little while until it starts recovering. Show you guys what it looks like once I'm sure it's made a complete recovery. Until then. Alright, and it has been exactly 2 months. That was April 14th. This is now June 14th. Right from day one, those leaves never shriveled up that I left on there or anything. It looked pretty good all along. Go ahead and look at it all the way around. Bloomed every day. I've just been seeing if it was going to put, you know, a good growth spurt in with like new shoots that I talk about, like it'll just do every now and again, but it has not. Pretty happy with the way things turned out. I do see 3 little tiny branches I want to take care of while I got it in here. You guys probably won't be able to see all that much, but there is a straight up branch here. And then right here, there's a branch coming out right at the same spot with a longer branch, so I just took that one off. And then it might be kind of hard for you guys to see, but right up in here, the apex, I never really noticed before, and it probably just developed, you know, recently. But there's a lateral branch coming out where the apex kind of comes up. And then there's another branch here that's almost trying to, like I say, kind of look like the apex. And I'm going to go ahead and take that straight up part off. Probably should have used the concave cutters for that. Let that lateral growth become one of the last branches there. And then just let that become the new apex. In the earlier part of the video, I probably said something along the lines, I'm not a huge fan of this tree. But if it lives, I would like to go ahead and do it justice. That's an odd angle to see it there. Kind of hoping that little cut I just made creates a little taper.